Hello, my friends. Let's practice some more phrasal verbs. Today, we will learn about three phrasal verbs that all use come as their verb, and they each have three definitions. Let's get started. The first one we have is come over. Come over is the present tense. Came over is the past tense. Let's start with this example. Do you want to come over tomorrow? I can make lunch for us. My friends, if someone asks you to come over, that's a very nice invitation to go to a place. And typically, if someone asks you just to come over, it means they want you to come to their home. They are inviting you to their home. It can also be used for other places. For example, I am at the restaurant. You should come over and meet me. So it could mean different places, but then that is clarified. If you only have come over, it means to someone's home. So do you want to come over tomorrow means you are invited to come to my home. Next, we have another example. She came over as intelligent and eloquent in the interview. We will hire her. So let's imagine that we work for a company and we are finding new employees. In an interview, she came over as intelligent and eloquent. Those are positive traits. And when we use come over in this kind of situation, this kind of context, when you are meeting someone or interviewing someone for the first time, came over in this context means to make an impression. You can tell that this is the definition because usually there is an adjective or a noun after it that tells you the type of impression that the person made. Come over in this context can also be used for positive or negative impressions. So, for example, we can say, he came over as rude during the interview. So, in this case, it's used with a negative adjective. And it just means that this is the impression the person had on you. Next, the last definition of come over is typically used with feelings. For example, sadness came over me as I read the letter. In this case, if we use came over or come over with a feeling or emotion, it means you suddenly start to experience this feeling. So in this case, as this woman read the letter, she started to feel or started to experience sadness. So this feeling arose in her as she read this letter. Okay, my friends, let's move on to come up. Come up is the present tense, and came up is the past tense. Let's look at the three examples for come up, starting with this one. I heard the students as they came up the stairs. In this case, we use come up to mean that they are going or moving up in that direction. So coming up the stairs means they are moving or going up the stairs. It also can mean to approach. So for example, if I say, I came up to the computer, it means I approached the computer. And this is very common to use with people. I came up to them means I approached them. So we use it a lot for movement, but not always. Let's look at two other examples. Often when politics come up in the conversation, people start to argue. Ooh, look at my picture. So, my friends, what do you think come up means in this context? It doesn't mean physical movement, but instead, if you are talking about an issue, situation, or problem coming up, it means that it is occurring or it is mentioned in a conversation. So, in this case, when someone mentions politics, people start to argue. So we can use come up to mean that the politics were mentioned or talked about or introduced into the conversation, and then people start to argue. You can tell this is the definition because, like I said, it's typically used with an issue, situation, or problem. So that will come first, and you will know that it means to be mentioned. Finally, for come up, her birthday is coming up soon. So I want to plan a party. Typically, for this definition, we use come up in the present progressive. So we will usually say is coming up. That is a clue that it's this definition. And we typically use this for dates or events, special events. And it means that the date of the event is approaching, it's coming quickly. So if it says her birthday is coming up soon, that means her birthday is approaching soon. The date of her birthday will happen soon. We can use this for many different time periods. For example, summer vacation is coming up. Or you can say a specific holiday. Halloween is coming up. And it just means the date of these events or time periods is arriving soon. Okay, my friends, we practiced come over, we practiced come up, and now let's practice come down. Come down is the present tense, came down is the past tense. Let's look at the first example, which maybe is a little bit familiar because we just practiced come up. So the first definition of come down is very similar. The dog came down the stairs very quickly when he heard the baby crying. So the dog is upstairs, the baby is downstairs, and when the baby starts to cry, wah, the dog came down the stairs. In this case, come down means to go or move down something. And typically we use it for something like stairs or a ladder that you can come up and you can come down. The next definition is a little bit more complex. So here is the example. The snow was coming down hard yesterday. I live in Montana, so this is a very common sentence to make small talk with other people. And if someone talks about snow coming down, it just means to fall quickly. And typically we use this for weather like rain or snow, but it can often also be used for people. If someone falls down, I can say, "Oh, I came down hard on my arm." That means I fell hard and fast on my arm. But often we use it for weather, and especially rain or snow. And it means that a lot of rain or snow fell quickly. So in this picture, you can see the snow coming down hard. There's a lot of snow falling in this picture. So if you hear this in a conversation, you can say, yes, it was coming down hard yesterday. Finally, the last definition is, again, a little bit different. I can't come to work today. I came down with the flu. If you hear come down or came down with an illness, it means that you become sick with this illness. It's very common to use it with the flu or cold, contagious diseases. It is not common with more serious diseases like cancer. But something like the flu or cold, you can say, I came down with a cold, or I came down with the flu. And it means you became sick with this illness. My friends, my beautiful friends, remember, practice, practice, and never give up.